Stop right now. If you feel like you are getting closer to your best version but an invisible force keeps pulling you back, then this is a destined message for you. You are not here because of an algorithm. You are here for a divine appointment to permanently end the silent pain, tightening your chest. The harsh truth is this: you will never heal the wound from your mother if you keep trimming the leaves while ignoring the root that has been rotten for years. Chosen one, the enemy has deceived you into believing you are broken. But in reality, every self-sabotaging behavior and every exhaustion in relationships comes from a false conclusion you made about yourself in the silence of childhood. This wound is not a punishment. It is an infection that has existed for decades and is now being pushed to the surface to be removed at the root. Today, we will shatter the silent contract with loneliness and step into a new identity where you are no longer a victim of your past. Do not scroll past if you do not want to stay trapped in this cycle for another 10 years. Leave a comment: I choose to end this pain, to activate the process of change immediately. Are you ready to face the truth? Chosen one, pause for a moment and look directly at this truth. There is a dull ache, an emptiness that cannot be filled, residing just beneath your chest. You have learned to live with it, to maneuver around it in order to survive, but you have never truly faced it. Today we will call it into the light, because only when its name is spoken does its power begin to collapse. Have you noticed the emotional cycles repeating themselves? Your relationships always end with the same painful script, no matter who the other person is. You always seem to become the version of yourself you almost reach, only to sabotage everything at the last moment. You cannot receive love without bracing yourself for the moment it will be taken away. The enemy has worked tirelessly to plant a toxic lie in the space between your thoughts that you cannot heal because you are fundamentally broken. He reminds you of the times you pushed away those who loved you, the times you stayed too long in toxic relationships, or the times you remained silent when you should have spoken. He gathers it all into a file labeled with your name and stamps it permanently beyond repair. But listen to me carefully, that is a lie from hell. This is where 90% of healing journeys fail. You have worked hard. You read books, go to therapy, journal, and repeat positive affirmations every morning. You think you are progressing because you have trimmed the withered branches on the surface. But that is the illusion of recovery. You may feel better for a season, but then the leaves yellow again and the fruit withers. Why? Because the disease is not in the branches. It is buried deep in the complex and invisible root system beneath the soil. You are treating symptoms while mistaking them for the root. The symptoms are anxiety, procrastination, and unexplained anger. But the true root is a harsh conclusion about yourself that you formed in the silence of childhood. The wound from your mother is not simply what she did. It is how you interpreted those actions when you had no ability to defend yourself. When a child does not receive consistent connection, when the mother, the first source of life and safety, is absent, unpredictable, or consumed by her own pain, that child will not conclude, "My mother is struggling." Instead, the child concludes, "I am a burden. I am not worthy of love. I must be perfect to be accepted." That conclusion is not a passing thought. It is a lifelong sentence you pronounced over yourself. It functions as an internal constitution, guiding every decision, shaping every perception, and setting the limits of your possibilities. It whispers, "It is not safe to be fully known." It insists, "Love is something I must constantly earn and perform for." It declares, "The real me is either too much or never enough to be cherished." Chosen one, understand this. The pain you feel right now is not a sign of weakness. The heaviness is evidence that healing has reached the deepest layer. Like an infection that has existed for decades, it is now being pushed to the surface to be removed completely. This pressure is not punishment. It is preparation for a great release. You have spent your entire life building protective walls around your heart. You called it strength, independence, vigilance. But the truth is, the walls that once protected you from childhood harm are now the very walls separating you from the love and blessings you deserve. You are living in a prison you built to survive, but now the prison door is opening. It is time to answer the most important question. Who are you without this pain? Many people fear healing because pain has become part of their identity. They do not know how to define themselves without struggle, without lack, without over-sacrifice. But God did not create you to remain a wounded person forever. He calls you chosen not because of what you endured, but because of who you will become after you step out of the fire. Do not let the enemy pull you back into old habits. Do not let the echoes of the past convince you that change is impossible. The truth is, you do not have to strive to become worthy. You were worthy from your very first breath. The wound from your mother may have shaped your past, but it does not have the authority to determine your future. You are not the result of what happened to you. You are the result of what you choose to believe about yourself right now. This journey is not for those seeking temporary comfort. It is for warriors willing to face the truth in exchange for freedom. Do you feel a vibration right now? That is your soul responding to truth. That is the sign that invisible chains are beginning to break. Before we move to the next part, to unravel the vows of independence that have blocked your blessings, I want you to take an act of faith. Leave a comment below. I choose truth and I choose freedom. This is not just a sentence. It is a declaration to the universe and to your own consciousness that the reign of pain is over. Take a deep breath. You are no longer alone on this journey. The light has arrived and the darkness of unnamed wounds must retreat. We will go to the very end of this truth together. Are you ready to become the most radiant version of yourself? Walk with me. Look directly at me. If you think this conversation is about blaming your mother, you are mistaken. Blame is the trap of victimhood, and anyone who chooses that path will remain stuck in the loop. But if you think you simply need to forgive and forget, you are even more mistaken. The truth I am about to reveal will hurt, but it is the pain of life-saving surgery. Have you ever wondered why, even though you are grown successful, perhaps with a family of your own, one phone call, one judging look, or one sigh from your mother can still make you crumble? Why do you suddenly feel like a helpless 5-year-old standing before her? It is because this wound is not in what she did. Listen carefully. The pain is not in her actions. It is in the verdict you pronounced over yourself because of them. When you were a child, your world was contained in your mother's eyes. She was the mirror that told you who you were. When that mirror was cracked by her own pain, you did not see her fracture. You saw a distorted image of yourself. If she was not present to comfort you when you cried, you did not think, my mother is exhausted. You concluded, I am not important enough to be heard. If she vented her frustration on you because of life's pressures, you did not think, my mother is losing control. You concluded, I am the source of every problem. I am a burden. Over time, these conclusions froze into a core belief system. You carried the label unworthy into every corner of your life. You chose emotionally distant partners because subconsciously you believed real love must come with abandonment. You rejected promotions because deep inside you feared that if you shined, you would hurt others, just as you once tried to shrink yourself so you would not disturb your mother. Pause for a moment. Do you see yourself in these examples? If you do, take a deep breath. It is not your fault, but it is your responsibility to break it. Now we step into more difficult territory, understanding the woman who caused that wound. To heal, you must understand the inheritance of pain. Before she was a mother, your mother was a wounded child. She could not give you what she had never received. You cannot demand water from a well that has been dry for generations. Look at her life, at your grandmother's life, and the women before them. You will see a chain of family tragedy, a relay race of unnamed pain, passed from one hand to another. She raised you with the tools she had, even if those tools were rusted, broken, or even harmful. The bitter truth is this: she may have done her best with what she had, but her best was still not enough for your sensitive soul. Acknowledging this is not excusing her mistakes. It is recognizing that you are not a victim of cruelty, but a victim of a generational emptiness. This is the turning point of the entire journey. To be truly free, you must be strong enough to hold two opposing truths in the same room. I call this parallel understanding. The first truth: what your mother did or failed to do caused you deep wounds and shaped you into a fearful, insecure version of yourself. You have the right to feel pain, anger, and grief for the child who was not protected. The second truth: your mother is also a shattered soul, a woman trapped in her own darkness who never found her way out. If you accept only the first truth, you will live in resentment. If you accept only the second, you will live in denial, convincing yourself that everything is fine. Freedom comes only when you stand in the middle, when you can say, "Mother, you hurt me deeply, and I accept that truth. At the same time, I see your pain, and I no longer allow your pain to define my worth." Chosen one, when you understand this, the invisible cord binding you to the past begins to loosen. You no longer have to strain to fix your mother, nor wait for an apology that may never come before starting your life. You are chosen to end this chain of tragedy. You are the one standing at the end of the waterfall of pain and saying, "It ends here. This pain will not flow through me to the next generation." This healing journey is not for the faint-hearted. It is for warriors willing to face the raw truth about their origins. Now I have a challenge for you. Look in the mirror, or simply close your eyes and say to the child within you, "My mother's conclusions are no longer my truth." If you feel relief or even tears, leave a comment, "I reclaim my power." In the next part, we will unravel something even more frightening, the silent contract. The reason the strength you have been proud of is the very thing suffocating your life. Do not leave, because this secret will completely change the way you see yourself. Welcome to the darkest, but also the most liberating part of this journey. Be honest with me. Are you proud of your independence? Do you take pride in saying, "I do not need anyone. I can handle everything on my own"? Out there in the world, that strength is praised. But here, between you and me, we will remove that mask. What you call extreme independence is not strength. It is a survival mechanism formed from the ruins of a childhood without protection. You are not strong because you wanted to be. You were strong because you had no other choice to survive. Today I will show you how the wall you built to protect yourself from the world has become the wall blocking every blessing you have been praying for. Travel back to the child you once were. When you realized your mother could not be your safe place when safety was shaken, your nervous system activated red alert. You learned to read faces before a word was spoken. You learned to hold your breath so you would not draw attention. You learned to do everything yourself because asking for help only brought disappointment or criticism. That was when you built the wall of hypervigilance. At the time, that wall saved you. It protected you from storms and helped you survive lonely nights. But here is the problem. When you became an adult, you carried that wall intact into adult relationships. You push away those who love you because they are too close. It feels dangerous. You reject help because you see it as weakness. You remain in constant anticipation of the next betrayal from those you love most. You think you are living in a fortress. The truth is, you are living in solitary confinement. The light of real love cannot penetrate that wall. Genuine care cannot reach your heart. You are starving for affection while surrounded by people willing to give it simply because you have locked every gate. Deep in the darkness of your wound, you unintentionally signed what I call a silent contract with your own soul. This is not ink on paper. It is a powerful spiritual covenant. You swore, never again will I allow myself to be hurt like this. Never again will I trust anyone. Never again will I let anyone see my weakness. This vow became armor around your soul. It promised safety, but it demanded a devastating price connection. When you swore you would never need anyone, you severed your bond with humanity. You became an island in the ocean. And more frightening still, this vow also blocks your connection with God. Why? Because at the core of faith is surrender and reliance. How can you rely on God if deep in your subconscious you believe that depending on anyone is dangerous? You pray for help, but when opportunity comes, the silent contract pushes you to reject it. You ask God to heal you, but you refuse to open the wound for Him to touch. You are living in severe inner conflict. One half longs to be loved, while the other is terrified of being seen. Chosen one, the reason you feel exhausted is not because you work too much. You are exhausted because maintaining that wall consumes too much energy. You are bracing yourself 24/7 to protect a child who should have been safe a long time ago. It is time to tear up that old contract. It is time to admit, I need people, I need love, and I need help. This admission is not failure. It is the highest form of courage. Only when you accept that you can be hurt can you truly be loved. Like a flower, if it keeps its petals tightly closed to avoid storms, it will never receive the sunlight it needs to bloom. You were created to bloom, not to wither inside a suit of armor. Today, the power of the silent contract must end. You are not the helpless child from the past anymore. You now have the ability to set healthy boundaries without building a prison. You can open your heart and still be safe because you have the guidance of truth. Take a deep breath and feel the vibration in your soul. That is the sound of the first bricks of the isolation wall cracking apart. If you are tired of having to be strong alone, take an action to break the covenant right now. Comment below, "I allow myself to be loved and helped." When you write those words, you are sending a signal to the universe that the prison door has opened. Do you dare to leave your armor here? In the next part, we will enter the real healing process, where you will learn how to grieve what was lost, so you can receive a brighter new name. Do not leave, because this is where you are truly reborn. We have peeled back the layers, named the pain, and identified the protective walls. Now I will take you to the rawest part, the most painful part, but also the only place where freedom can be born. Grief. Do not confuse knowing about the pain with mourning it. Most of us try to jump straight to forgiveness without daring to walk through the valley of tears. You cannot heal something you have not admitted you lost. Chosen one, today I require you to dare to grieve. Grieve the mother. You did not have the mother who should have been a safe harbor but became the source of the storm. Grieve the childhood that was stolen from you, the years you had to grow up too early, had to carry the emotions of others. And most of all, grieve the radiant, confident, innocent version of you, the version buried under the dust of denial and fear. If you do not dare to cry for that child, you will carry them on your back forever like a hollow body. Healing does not begin with positive affirmations. It begins with the most honest tears. Now answer me a question that may make you tremble. Who are you without this pain? This is the enemy's most subtle trap. After years of living with the wound, it is no longer just a scar, it has become your identity. You have grown used to being the wounded one, the survivor, the one who has to carry everything. Pain has become a familiar frame of reference, a comfort zone, even if it is toxic for your life. Many people say they want to heal, but deep inside they are terrified of being healthy. Why? Because if there is no longer pain to blame, they must take full responsibility for their life. If they are no longer the victim, they will not know how to draw attention or compassion from others. Chosen one, do you dare to release the label wounded one and step into the unknown emptiness? Do you dare to drop the torn cloak of the past and stand naked under the light of a new destiny? The greatest challenge of healing is not overcoming pain, but declaring the old version of yourself dead so a new person can be born. Do not cling to ashes just because you fear the cold of change. This process reminds me of the story of Jacob, who wrestled with God through an entire night. Jacob spent his life running, deceiving, using his own strength to survive. But on that destined night, standing before the Most High, he could not run anymore. Jacob's victory did not come from being stronger than God. His victory came when he was broken at the hip, when he was completely exhausted and had no choice but to surrender. In the moment he admitted ultimate weakness. In the moment he clung to God and said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." Jacob received a new name, Israel. From a deceiver, he became a prince. You are the same. True healing comes only when you stop running from your wound. Stop using false strength to fight destiny. You must surrender to truth. Surrender to your weakness. Surrender to the unconditional love of God. This surrender is not surrendering to the enemy. It is surrendering to salvation. When you break, that is when His light can enter. When you let go of the old silent contract, that is when He gives you a new blueprint for life, brighter and freer beyond measure. When you walk through this process, you will notice something miraculous. The old scar no longer hurts. It becomes a medal of victory. You no longer see yourself through the lens of a wounded mother, but through the eyes of the one who created you. You are no longer abandoned. You are no longer a burden. You are chosen, refined by fire to carry light to those still trapped in darkness. I know this road is steep, but you have come too far to turn back. Take a symbolic action right now to declare the old identity dead. Leave a comment: "I renounce the identity of the wounded one. I receive my new name." And do not take your eyes off the screen, because in the final part we will speak the liberating affirmations, spiritual codes that will permanently nail this freedom into your soul. Are you ready to be reborn? Come with me into the final step. Chosen one, we have walked through the valley of tears, faced the rawest truths about your relationship with your mother and the toxic silent contracts. Now, standing at the threshold of freedom, you may be asking, why did I have to go through all of this? Why did this pain choose me? Listen carefully. God did not allow you to see this wound to shame you. He did not expose the dark corners of your past to make you feel small or guilty. He showed you the wound so he could uproot it. The purpose of this pain was never to destroy you, but to refine you. You were chosen to become a cycle breaker. You are standing in a strategic place in your bloodline to say, with me, this harm stops. You are being healed not only for yourself, but to become a lighthouse, guiding future generations into a freedom their ancestors never knew. Your pain is the tuition for the authority and power you are about to carry. Now is the most important moment. Healing is not only a feeling, it is a legal decision in the spirit. It is time for you to use the power of words to cancel old verdicts. I want you, wherever you are, to straighten your back, take a deep breath and repeat after me, not only with your mouth, but with the full authority of your soul. I declare cancelled every false conclusion that I am unworthy, that I am a burden, or that I am a mistake. Those words are not my truth. My truth is that I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I officially tear up the silent contract of loneliness. I renounce the vow, I will never need anyone. I allow myself to be weak, supported, and loved. I open my heart to receive the healthy connections God sends. I return the emotional burdens that were never mine. I release the need to fix my mother's past. I choose to live my own life radiant and free, no longer chained to the ghosts of previous generations. Feel the weight of the chains hitting the floor. You are no longer a fugitive from your past. You are a free person, stepping into your own kingdom. When the old vows lose their power, a void will appear. Do not let fear fill it. Fill it with your new identity. You are no longer the abandoned child. You are no longer the one who must always earn acceptance. From this moment, your identity is unconditionally loved. Understand this, the Creator's love for you is not based on your productivity, not based on how perfect you are, and it is certainly not based on your mother's opinion of you. He loves you because he is love. This freedom is not something you must wait for in the future. It is not a distant promise. It is here. It is now. You leave this video not as someone trying to heal, but as someone who has been healed and is learning how to live in that fullness. Wear this new identity like the most magnificent cloak. You are seen, you are valued, and you are protected by a power that cannot be shaken. Chosen one, 1,000-mile journey begins with one step, and you just made a great leap. Do not let the worries of the world or the echoes of the past dim the truth you just received. If this message touched the deepest layer of your soul, if it collapsed the strongholds of lies that have stood for years, do not keep it to yourself. There are people out there dying in loneliness, wrestling with wounds they cannot name. You are the answer to their prayers. This is our final declaration. Leave a comment. I am unconditionally loved. I am completely free. Let those words be proof of your rebirth day. Do not forget to share this video with at least one person you know is also a chosen one who needs to be awakened. Remember, your healing journey is inspiration for someone else's life. I am proud of you. God is proud of you. Walk in your radiance today. Thank you for staying with me to these final moments. Your staying here is proof that your soul is ready for a true revolution of freedom. Remember, healing is not a destination, but a journey of self-love and self-acceptance every day. I deeply value your presence in this community of chosen ones. If today's truths helped you remove even one link from your soul, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That is how we stay connected, so you do not miss the next codes of awakening on your journey back to your most radiant self. Walk in your radiance, because the world is waiting for the light of a healed soul you. I will see you in the next videos. You are loved, you are worthy, and you are free.